Exterior, Chili Dog Drive-In. Kyle sits in his cool Pontiac Civic. Everyone in... Stop. I can't do it if I'm looking at your face. I got to start.
The fuck is a Pontiac Civic?
I don't know. I whipped this one together, okay? This week on No Accounting for Taste, aliens.
It is Chevrolet 747.
Can we just... This is better than my opening. Can we just start here?
He was in his KitchenAid Sunbird.
This week on No Accounting for Taste, alien culture.
Yes. Did I get it? Did I nail it?
Hal, you're good with words. You know that, man?
I think the gym is dumb.
Did Rachel walk in the room? Of course I've eaten a Baconator.
Man, if you ain't doing CrossFit, you can get CrossFit.
You're right. A long burger's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's your sitcom right there as a Mr. Fix-It-All who just can't fix his heart.
We will not be defending Atlantic City.
No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it.
I am jacked to the max. I had a training session this morning. Let's fucking do it. My trainer said I looked beastly today, Kyle.
What? That can go one of a few ways as far as a compliment.
I know you don't go to the gym, but in gym culture, it's a compliment. It means I'm savage.
Could mean your back's hairy and your nails are too long.
It could have a double meaning.
More than double. It could have more many.
There are some dudes there who have got basically fucking coochie cutter shorts on, and they're just always looking at their fucking hamstrings and shit. It blows my mind.
I say make people uncomfortable. Speaking of making people uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's a pro move, pro swish transition. Kinane.
I got it, man. You ever been visited by let's say a stranger for the sake of this intro? If someone an unknown entity has come by and you'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were here."
In a condensed way of answering your question, I don't know if I have felt that per se, but I don't think that I am alone or we are alone, if that helps. Yeah. It's too vast. Mm-hmm. It would be, I think about how unlucky I feel most of the time, and to be the only planet, from the only planet that has something living on it.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
just doesn't seem.
The Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
The universe is the Fermi paradox. The universe is too big.
The Fermi paradox is the exercise I did at the gym today.
It shows you look beastly.
Thank you very much.
See, I brought it around. That's the theory that the universe is so vast that it's silly to think that we're alone. But if there are other people, why haven't we been visited by them? Also, I want to interject, the term extraterrestrial just sounds like a regular person that doesn't need to be here, because terrestrial just means you're here. And who's that guy? He's some extraterrestrial. Honestly, we could do without him. I don't use it for aliens.
What about you so extraterrestrial?
Are you being real extraterrestrial right now?
You're being real extraterrestrial. Yeah.
So we are talking on No Accounting for Taste this week. We're talking about aliens, little green men, visitors, extraterrestrials, if you want to be pedestrian,
and
about
the
your
activity surrounding it, if you like. I guess. UFOs, even human alien culture. Is that a thing? Is that a thing we should?
How
is that
so?
a right way to say? Well, the people that follow it, the behavior around it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about the aliens. We're talking about the people that are into it, and that their life is about them being out there. And myself, hey, I'm already on board. I don't even have to argue. I'd have to force myself to argue against this. How on
board are you?
Well, for the same reason you're talking about, that I think that there's just too vast of a. They can't even conceive how vast the universe is for something else to be out there. And I think, now, do I think most of these stories are true? That's probably what we'll get into.
Yeah, that's going to be the hanging chad, if you will.
there's very few people. As you know, I've got a little that are too many dumb tattoos to keep track of. We got a little UFO right there. So he's a UFO. He's visiting the beach. I figured aliens would want to go to the beach. So it's a UFO. It's a UFO.
Why was that?
Because everybody loves the beach.
All right. Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Imagine you travel all the way to Earth from space, then you're flying around like this place is kind of a dump, and then you see like Maui, and you're like, oh wait, this place is all right.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time with, I'd say, 90% of the stories and recollections that are out there. The willingness to believe lights
is a lot of credit you're giving to people too.
And even it's a rough estimate. Like the lights in the sky that people see, I think, can usually be explained by other things. And it's that if you want to believe in that it's UFOs, and it makes your curiosity is heightened, and it makes you excited, like, you know, your sense of wonder is fulfilled.
Yeah.
Then I don't see a problem in it.
There's never a sane expert in this realm, or somebody who ever comes off and that's really fucking hard for someone who's like, I'm not saying it ain't, but if I'm skeptical, you know, and then someone's like, some guy in a fucking Hawaiian shirt and, you know, shorts who like lives in the desert and is just sunburned redder than the devil's dick.
Give me
I'm not going to
6 months. 2 thoughts. I mean, the guy that's all sunburnt, living out in the desert, staring at the sky every night, hoping to see an alien. I would still rather have more of that person than the Gordon Gekko looking from his booth, like on the trading floor of Wall Street, like, yes, bring me more money. Like, I'd rather have that guy's sense of, call it curiosity, greed almost. Like, they want all the experiences that have not, like, are they just running away from all earthly responsibilities? Yeah, I do. I mean, as you know, I co-host the Boogie Monster with Dave Stone, and it's theoretically supposed to be talking about all this stuff, but we don't really adhere to it too much. But every story is like, every time somebody sees Bigfoot, they recorded it on a flip phone from 2002. Every time somebody sees an alien, it's the guy who has the car shaped like an alien and wears alien glasses and drives around the desert. Like, you've willed it into existence. You've seen what you want to see.
Yeah, but that's like that's the dismissal of it too, which is not something we're trying to stay away from on the show. But like my big issue is like, did you hear? I saw it was like maybe a few months ago there was a story about like NASA or some kind of space agency got radio wave signals from a place they'd never had before.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, well, that's crazy interesting. You know, like, and also that I'm like, I don't know. We don't know so much shit about other stuff. It could just mean an asteroid flew through something and it created like things. If a rock getting thrown into a pond can produce waves and sound and energy and motion, I don't understand why something else shifting through space couldn't produce something similar. You know, like, so I'm not trying to excuse what happened or what they got or dismiss it even. If I got to be open to the possibility that it could be aliens, I also need you to be open to the possibility that this is what I'm saying is just about as logical.
Yeah. It's and also my personal experience. I remember once being on a drunken stone on a buddy's rooftop in San Francisco years ago and seeing a formation of lights, and I was like, "What?" Like, the part of me was like, "Finally, it's about time."
Yeah, they knew I was here. They came to get me.
But then there's still, I'm, still a based in reality person for the most part. And I'm like, well, let's go over the long list of what it probably is before assuming.
That's never what starts it. Yeah, it's never.
Nobody goes through the list. And I went through the list, and it turned out it was like, like the Chinese paper lanterns.
Yeah.
And they can tie them together. So you can launch like 6 or 7 of them and it floats very slowly.
And makes a formation
in a formation. And I was like, oh, I was sad that that's what it was. But then that informed me, like, all right, let's look at all these other cases. And like, okay, we can dismiss this as
like, if you're in Indiana, you can say probably not Chinese lanterns. Yeah, but
probably not, unless they're for a funeral of a Chinese person that was killed by the clan that's in Indiana.
Yes,
but I mean, how many times is the government going to do an experiment with new technology? They need to use the sky. They don't just get to have a part of the sky. And then if they want to keep it secret, and the best way to keep it secret is for a bunch of people running around on Earth going, it's aliens. And they're like, yeah, you're right. It's aliens. And therefore, they don't have to divulge any of their testing. Disinformation. They just let the disinformation handle the publicity for it.
I guess that's a way. Yeah. All right. I could see that being a method of disinformation. I just know sometimes people freak out on Reddit and they'll be like, what is it? You know, like some guy will just be driving on the 405 or whatever, highway.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's just a silver blimp. So that basically eliminates everybody's opinion who liked that video or commented that it's aliens. To me, that cuts it right. Like, they're not true believers; they're idiots.
Yeah, it's the quickness to be like, it's the unexplained. It's like, no, you didn't try to explain it. It doesn't mean it's unexplainable. It means that you jumped to the most illogical conclusion first before doing any of the steps of research.
You're fucking bored and you're tired of watching TBS, or whatever.
And that's what we're going to discuss.
We are.
Is there anything wrong with that? After this break. Shane, you a big Blink-182 fan?
I did really like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket when I was a youngin'. I will say
was it when you're a little kid and the songs about pee and poo are funny?
Yeah.
Well, or, that band that sings about pee and poo actually estranged one of its own members for being too into aliens. Imagine having your pee and poo bandmates saying, hey, man, you're getting a little weird for us with the aliens.
Yeah.
We're just trying to sing about buttholes and beating off.
Yeah. Well, I don't know you had to take a serious turn.
Tom DeLonge, a big UFO guy, created the To the Stars Academy.
He is also, I think he's like the most famous one in the past few years, right? Like in the past 10 years, is there another A-lister celebrity who really is out about that kind of shit?
Well, out about it and created an organization to do research that has what would be considered very legitimate ties in the UFO research community. He talks to John Podesta, who is also obsessed with it. He's got ties to, I forget who, people in NASA. He is very much, it seems, trying to legitimize or be a part of the legitimization of the research of aliens. But then it's weirdly undermined because there's this fictional side to it where he's creating graphic novels about aliens. And I have a hard time when somebody's trying to go, this is real and we should look into it as a serious thing. Also, here's my fictional serialized account of what it would be like if there was aliens. It's well, which one is fulfilling the other? Which endeavor is rewarding the next?
It's very L. Ron Hubbard-y kind of.
Yeah.
And
you don't buy my books that are fake? Well, it's a real religion now, and now my books are the Bible.
Well, also, it's very if he's our foremost guy on this, we're never going to meet him.
The lip ring alone is going to be
it's a lot.
I'm not going to listen to this dude. I'm not going to listen to this manager of a Zoomies tell me about what life on Earth is
I refuse to let anyone tell me that the person who's going to have first contact with aliens is someone from San Diego.
So I was like, bro, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, fucking.
Maybe it will be. On account of
my
tattoo,
Sublime t-shirt.
On account of this tattoo, looking for tasty waves, maybe that's exactly who's going to come into contact with him.
I think, you know what is interesting? I do think probably more people out there believe in this stuff in positions of success and power, who have amassed a lot of wealth or notoriety, who may also be scared to talk about it because they think it really could affect them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you could take a very passive role in it of like, yeah, why not? Like, you don't have to go and.
That's the most acceptable one, which is not like, I think like, yeah, why not? I think is the most acceptable position to be like, yeah, it's possible. But like, that's also like, do you believe in God? He could be there. They could be there.
I was just going to say an agnostic position that is also like, I'm not going to get deep into it, and I don't want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But good for you for being down with it.
Yeah, but some people are like probably way more into it than that. But that has to be the position they hold at. You know, like, so I don't.
It's a harmless belief system. I mean, as far as what people want to get into, like you want to spend your weekends.
Seems more open-minded to me than harmless. It seems like, yeah.
I think it gets dangerous when people are like, and this is where the government's covering it up, and I got to go raid this government building to show that there's proof of aliens. But that's, I think that type of individual, like that's more of a mental illness that was going to manifest in some way. If it wasn't, I got to go find the bunkers that they hide underneath all the Walmarts.
Yeah, he could, which is, it's very much like, it's like I have to go to Denver International Airport and figure out where the ray guns are or whatever.
I'm breaking onto the tarmac, dig through runway 47.
Sorry, told him to move that flight to Hawaii over to runway 6. While I do my alien prospecting.
I got to show y'all what's up.
Some people really might believe in it and may not be able to speak about it for fear of like being canceled in some way. Like, look at fucking. We're already talking about this Tom DeLonge guy, you know, take off your pants and Blink 182 jack off guy. And we're fucking, I'll tell you this, he ain't doing as hot as he was 12 years ago. I know that. I don't know a lot.
Well, you know? I will commend anybody who's like, all right, I've been a rock and roll star, touring the world and made millions of dollars. Now I get to deep dive on some weird shit and I don't care what you say. I do respect somebody who takes their fame and wealth and's like, now I'm going bonkers.
Yeah.
See everybody.
Yeah. Now it's a weapon for me to do what I want with. Yeah.
Yeah. But he is going through legitimate channels. Like he is, like I said, he is going like starting organizations of legitimate research, speaking at these conferences. Now, whether you call the whole thing illegitimate, that's different.
Yeah,
but he's not just a dude who took his tour bus and parked it in Joshua Tree and just run around on mushrooms with his dick out yelling, they're real. Like he's.
Well, I guess there's like a validity. Like, what is the validity of his institutions too? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, cause you know, like when people, you're like, well, I watched the news. That was like a thing our parents just kind of trusted the news for years. Yeah. You know, and then you found some news was horseshit. So I guess like it really depends on the ethics around his organizations because it seems like he wants to believe in aliens. Mm-hmm. So it does not seem like impartial.
He's met, now that I just made the joke about him, I read this Rolling Stones article where he's like, the guitarist has made several aircraft spotting pilgrimages himself, driving his Airstream trailer to Nevada test sites like Area 51. Like, all right, maybe he's... But he says he's got satellite phones, night vision goggles and everything. He's registered with the State Department. He's... Honestly, if you're just an amateur astronomer and you hope one of the stars moves...
I'm fine with it. You know, like I really just hate being beaten over the head with something that isn't proven. And that's like, and I'm not saying he's doing that. He's just kind of speaking his truth or whatever, which I can kind of handle. It's a consider the source thing. It's the guy from Blink 182 who probably did a shitload of drugs. And I don't care.
I don't think they were drug dudes though.
No. That's another podcast.
I think you get deeper lyrics if you do drugs.
There's some pretty deep lyrics on there.
Really?
Yeah.
On a Blink 182. All right, man. Maybe we just got to get you a wider exposure to music. Okay. He does say in And this Rolling Stone article is this is from 2016, so take that in mind.
Okay, no,
but
that's fine.
His latest project is Secret Machines Book 1, Chasing Shadows, a 700-page novel he wrote with UNC Charlotte Shakespeare professor A.J. Hartley. Though fictional, it's written with information DeLong says he gleaned from sources within the aerospace industry in the Department of Defense and NASA. Then he adds that sentence specifically was approved for me to say. This is where I have problems, where somebody creates a piece of fiction, but see, there's real information in it, because then the viewer or reader or listener is free to run wild concocting which parts are true and which parts are fiction to then create an untruth that has factual elements and go around just speaking like, well, Tom DeLonge's researching it and he said this happened. Where did he say it happened? Oh, in his fictional book.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's
you're muddying the waters.
Yeah. Well, like we know and love Sam T. He wrote a book and includes people in it like yourself that we know, but it's a work of fiction. You know, so if someone comes up to you guys like, hey, Kyle, you remember that time you did cocaine with whatever, Ollie Joe Shea or whatever, you know, like.
But it's also not science. It's also not trying to prove something in the world. It's like, I understand adding real elements to a fictional story to just ground it. But this is like you're trying to prove something that people are skeptical of. Me personally, I would think you would want a very open channel of like, these are facts I've learned from scientists and people that work in NASA. I wouldn't bury it and then they went and had cheeseburgers and she winked at him and then they smooched. Yeah. Also, leading NASA scientist says that kissing developed from alien races as a way to pass genetic material from one another. Like that's
they pull on their earlobes to signify, or whatever kind of bullshit.
So that's my issue with old Tom DeLonge's getting into it. But Jackie Gleason, do you remember Jackie Gleason to the moon? You thought it was a threat of spousal abuse, but actually it was just his admiration for extraterrestrials.
I hate that.
I mean, they did, one of these articles did start with that being mentioning the catchphrase. I don't think they mentioned this. He did just threaten abuse every episode. That was part of the funny things where he threatened to beat his wife. They don't mention that. He was a big guy, UFO guy.
Yeah.
So Nick's built a whole house in Florida with no right angles, like an aerospace engineer designed his house.
What?
An aerospace engineer designed his house in Florida. Nixon came by and said, check out my UFO house. Richard
Nixon went to Jackie Gleason's house because he had a UFO house. Those don't need to mix because it's Jackie Gleason. There's no validity to this person and their position meeting a president.
But it's apparently through all these different stories that came up, it was that Nixon and Jackie Gleason would play golf regularly at Gleason's home in Florida. And one of these days, Gleason was like, well, check out this spot that I got.
Come to my weird house.
No, I take that back. It was Nixon that took Jackie Gleason on a tour of the Homestead Air Force Base, according to this Den of Geek article, where Nixon gave him a tour in this Air Force base of basically showing like UFO technology and all this kind of stuff. So Nixon showed Gleason a bunch of UFO shit that happened to be stored in Florida, because why not add a little bit more pepper to the stew? And again,
this goes to proving my point that they don't need to be... If a president is just like, hey, here's a ray gun, Jackie Gleason, not the person who needs to know about it.
But this all ties... so this ties in with the idea that, like, during the Cold War, everybody thought UFOs were a real thing, because during the Cold War, like, U.S. and Russia were trying to come up with whatever the new edge was outside of just pure military might to beat each other. That's where like the men that stare at goats type of thing started up. Psychological warfare, like psyops type of shit, MK Ultra, which is like, I do have a hard time. Like, I know when people are like anti-vax, like, oh, the government, I'm like, I'm not going to trust the government. Like, you're an idiot. Take your vaccine. But I'm like, also they did give people acid without them knowing about it. So I don't know. But so that, like, the UFO thing kind of blew up around that, because whatever's, like I was saying, whatever secret military thing If somebody, just some yokel on the ground, thought it was a UFO and that got into the newspapers, even better. Let Russia think that we're developing UFOs rather than a guy that actually saw a plane with a new wing design. So that was beneficial in the propaganda department back and forth of never knowing what the other side was creating.
Yeah, I think it has the potential to create insane hysteria too.
Yeah.
Or any kind of like insane reaction to it, like.
And
so
I'm well aware that this is the exact kind of conversation people avoid when they take the agnostic point of like aliens. Yeah, I guess. Because then somebody like me goes like, during the Cold Wars, actually, they favored the misinformation because then the other side couldn't discern what was true and what was false and what was,
The real miracle is that nobody came down here in 1980 and blasted us to Kingdom Come, not some goddamn hockey game.
I don't think UFOs have visited the Earth. I don't think they've been here. I think they've I don't think they've landed and intermingled the way a lot of these stories are. Oh, they live together in underground bases and everything. I don't.
What is the single most convincing UFO story or fact you have heard?
First off, I don't understand why we keep thinking that UFOs are just made out of metal and glass, like they have windshields. Like
that's a big one for me. Like, why do they always look the same?
Yeah, you can travel faster than the speed of light, but you still need a windshield to know, like, oh, no, back it up a few feet. Otherwise, we can't fit into this parking space.
Cut it. Like,
why are they all of the same relative size as us, whether they're, like, shorter or taller, but eyes and arms and the same shape as a human being? Well, they could be microscopic. They could exist as molecules.
Yeah.
Here's another one: octopuses, or however you want to pluralize octopus. Octopuses have octogooches.
The suction cups.
They evolved into being what they are. Like, we're all like this primordial ooze, the fish that crawled out of the pond type thing and developed. Yeah. All forms of everything's evolved from that.
Yeah. And from a single organism kind of approach or whatever.
Yeah, and an octopus. And granted, I hate to break it to everybody, not a scientist. So let's not go like anybody quoting me.
A lot of people do call you the joke doctor.
Anybody, that's still not science. That's just I get in there and I figure out what's wrong with your funny bone. More of a joke practitioner. I don't really do the blood and guts things, but if anybody quotes me for what I say in terms of science, it's like telling somebody, well, Tom DeLonge said aliens are real.
Yeah, that's like, this clearly cannot, you can't be used as a source in this situation.
Here's some wordplay about ass eating. Yeah. But they developed, they're completely unique in the way that they evolved versus like humans and primates or cats and like four-legged creatures and mammals and insects and everything else. They're their own thing. That's it. And they're hyper intelligent. Each of their tentacles it's not just like you have an arm. It's like, imagine your appendages all had their own brain to communicate with one another. Like the simple idea of like playing a guitar. I know how to match up a chord with when I strum this. But much more complicated task, which is why they can figure out how to open jars and escape their tanks and escape a room that they're held in. They can crawl across floor, figure out how a door handle works and get out. They have eyes like human beings, like that. And that's in the ocean, of which we don't know what's down there.
That's a
maybe aliens visited and they're just hanging out in the depths of the ocean because they know that's a safe hiding space.
First of all, I did not know that about octopuses. I'll be completely honest. I'm pretty unsettled just by the old octopus thing now. Like what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's wild how dominant your dominant side can be and how useless your left hand happens to be if you're right hand dominant.
Think about like whatever Disney cartoon had an octopus bartender, and they actually nailed it way more than anybody else. Like, yeah, that's pretty much what an octopus can do. Is like two arms going, oh, this needs a little bit of horseradish and more salt, and then the other two arms are like, oh, dirty martini, you got it. And the other two are making change out of the drawer. Like that's accurate.
Charlene just wrote the original question. What is the single most convincing UF story or fact you have ever
what's
heard?
Wrong, Charlene? Octopus bartender, too off topic?
I mean,
straight a little too
This is
far.
what they come for. This is what they come for.
I'm just wondering where this is going.
It's aliens. It's a pretty open-ended concept.
Into cartoons. The analogy you're making, if I'm wrong, correct me, is that is such a different thing happening here than like normal like mammal.
Of all the other life and organisms that exist on Earth that can be related into like, well, this thing turned into these two things, and they turned into those four things, and then that genus was created.
Yeah.
That an octopus is just an octopus, and it's
So why couldn't there be a
disturbingly original?
Yeah, Mars octopus or whatever. Like
Yeah, and the thought of like that's not related as much to any other organism. Maybe that's what early alien life in the formidable years of living organisms on Earth. That's from something like a meteor that came down and then crashed onto Earth, and it came from that. Like that is an alien. That's life from somewhere else that evolved into the octopus that lives here on Earth.
Yeah.
But was created there. The fact that there are water on other planets.
This is the part where like people talking about aliens start to sound like lunatics. Like we're really brushing up.
And this is where I'm excited about it. This is where I'm like, they're real. Of course they're real. We just don't have the proof. It's close. But the fact that there's water on other planets, and that
that's
if there's water,
like the thing
organisms
that, like,
can be in water.
That's the thing I think of more than anything. Like if there's water on other planets, I think there's a good chance. Like
it's not as juicy of a story as oh man, well there was a big old light above me one night after I did a bunch of meth in the forest, and then it sucked me up.
Yeah, Then and now look at
fire
me.
in the sky. Yeah, it's not fire in the sky exciting, but that's the fact. That's the kind of stuff that makes me 100% allow the possibility.
You think there's any celebrity out there that keeps making these kind of alien, like a Will Smith type, who always makes so many alien movies? And it's just like, these are actually kind of like documentaries to me. Charlie's message.
Our producer Charlene's getting a little impatient with where this section of the podcast went. What's the matter, Charlene? Truth invading your reality?
Yeah, maybe open your mind. Yeah, open your ears. Sorry you can't go to P.F. Chang's in Burbank right now, but we're trying to lay some truth bombs down on you.
It's unfortunate that all the loudest representatives of UFO culture are the ones that make me go like, well, this isn't helping.
Yeah.
Now, there's rarely a decent story that comes out where I'm like, oh, I like this kind of makes sense. Like there's the one, I can't remember his name now, but there's a recent documentary that came out on Amazon about, and he's just saying he's like, I'm at risk telling you this, but these are the facts that I know about what the guy like. They always have top secret clearance, and then somebody researches that clearance. They're like, yeah, top secret clearance is basically like
genuine leather. It's like the cheapest shit. Kind of.
Yeah, it's like I'm a Weebelows, and then there's still Boy Scouts where the actual skills are taught. Yeah. Like we're talking about like, okay, it's harmless if you want to believe that aliens are real and you want to go out and camp in the desert and pay a little more attention to the skies and be excited if you see a shooting star and what could it be, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you start taking the conspiracy theories like, well, it's because it's a cover up. And then that warps your idea of like the government's lying to us.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're on 4chan going, Q said we need to storm the Capitol building.
Yeah.
And well, that's the bad. That's the bad of it.
I do wonder what the amount of QAnon believers that are also alien believers, like
I
percentage.
feel like that's the entry. I feel like that's the first.
I kind of feel like that too. I feel like it's.
Imagine somebody believes QAnon trying to shoot down any other conspiracy.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's like somebody who believes in flat Earth saying there's no such thing as low fat yogurt. Shut the fuck up. You shut up, you moron.
Speaking of morons, we're going to hear from some callers next.
Well, I've spoken enough about my take on this.
Yeah, we want to hear from our meow meows, our kitty cats.
That will never stick. I hope
it will.
They don't.
Baby wants some milk in his saucer.
You're grossing me out, and you're sashaying in your own chairs, making it even more haunting.
Don't be like that, my little kitty cat.
Oh God, look at you. You look like the brokest cam girl right now.
Yeah. Anyways, Kyle and I like to call this section "Getting Milked." So why don't you give? Yeah, it's a lot. All right, everyone, let's take some calls. Still, just trying to have some fun with my buddies.
Here's our first call. Let's get on.
Hey, Kyle and Shane, Anthony from Phoenix. I don't particularly have my own alien story, but my grandpa was in the Air Force as an air traffic controller back in the 50s, and him and two of the guys said that they saw a UFO, called it in. They were told they didn't see anything and that they needed to get their eyes checked. They restationed my grandpa from California to France, stationed another guy in Korea, and one somewhere in Europe all as well. And every night for the next 3 years, they got a phone call asking what they saw and had to say, we didn't see anything. And then the caller would hang up. Years later, my grandpa became a general's assistant for the guy who did Project Blue Book and asked him if they could confirm or deny what he saw that night. And the guy came back a couple weeks later and told him that they couldn't validate it being any type of Air Force testing or anything like that. So I don't know if that's interesting, but best wishes to you guys. Take care.
Ooh, spicy biscuits. That one, that does definitely sound like that's the Air Force testing things, and
yeah,
we will intimidate you into you making sure you say you didn't see anything.
And here's the thing with like stories.
Though.
Suspicious for sure. But here's the thing with stories like this. People get moved in the Army. They get transferred in the Air Force. Like that's a thing that happens all the time. That's not a big enough deal. Like that's not a fact that doesn't provide any like facts to this story outside of
that they got called transferred every night though.
I got my I don't know about getting called every night. That's got to be that you're going to tell me that his grandfather never went out in 3 years. Every night he just sat at the phone. I don't know. My doubt lies in that it was a grandfather telling a story. Like that's the thing. That's the point of being a grandparent is you could just lie to your grandkids. Like you don't have to worry about how they develop in the real world because you're a grandparent. And if you did a good enough job as a grandparent, your child, the parent of that, your grandchild, that's their responsibility to shape that as a functioning member of society. As a grandparent, you'd be like, yeah, I saw aliens. And then they sent me to France and they called me every night and said, did you see an alien? I would absolutely do that shit. I don't want kids, but I'd love grandkids. Or like make me an uncle because I would lie out my ass to them every chance I got to put wonder into the world. That's your job as a grandparent. I like the wonder. Yeah, I don't know. We do appreciate your grandfather's service, though. We're not trying to shit on that at all. But I don't know, man. It doesn't. The general's assistant thing. What do they tell assistants? It's another one.
California and Phoenix, though, a lot of big open area to do testing or. If you were to visit from outer space, oh look, here's a large swath of land without lights on. So we can probably plop down there without being detected, you know?
But can I ask this question? Don't a lot of places in the country, doesn't every state have a large swath of land without lights on it?
Yeah, but it's probably like, is there vegetation? If there's vegetation, it means that there's going to be people there, like farmland. They're going to cultivate it. They could probably.
That's
they
like
got those like heat sensors. They could tell, or maybe it's because they know there's military bases out there. And like, what's a lot of activity doing in this one remote place in the middle of nowhere? We should probably poke around at that because that's probably going to be where they're going to shoot at us from.
Here's the thing. That's actually something that makes sense to me hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was a person who read something in a book from Tom DeLonge, like that could be a thing that could like kind of be like, well, it might push the needle a little more in the other direction.
Story works. That story works.
That story does work. Tell your papaw thank you.
Let's go. What do we got next? Give us one, Charlene. Hit us with it.
All right, here we go.
Dealer bust. House wins.
Hey there, Shane. Hey there. Hey there, Kyle. Now, as far as aliens being real, I mean, I'd like to think they are. You spice up, different kinds of folk we got walking around these parts. Lord knows I'm fucking tired. Tried to do a little something there for you, of the types of people we got down here. So maybe we get some large, spindly fingered green fellas, coming for a visit. Maybe they teach us how to play some alien hopscotch or something. Anyhow, I think it'd be real cool if they did exist. So, I'm gonna choose to believe that, it's really possible. All right, thank you. Bye.
That's just the horniest guy in Lafayette, Louisiana, who even being bisexual isn't satiating him. He needs something else to come down and get weird with him. God bless you.
Some of these friendly green fingers, just like, that's a friendly green finger is just like a gardener who's also a molester. Like,
just doing Friday. Oh, me and old green fingers going out bowling. Maybe have a few adult pops. See where the night takes us.
Maybe they'll teach us how to play alien hopscotch.
They got suctions. They're going to cheat.
Yeah, I just think what does that even look like?
This is exactly the attitude that I'm talking about. Good for you. Maintain a sense of curiosity and wonder.
I have no problem with anything he said. I just have a problem with the possibility of what he might do with these aliens when they get
or what they might do with him. He seems real open-minded.
Yeah,
especially with the Porky Pig stutter into the like the. I guess if you got to look up my butthole for the better of mankind, I'll let you do it.
Pro-open-minded.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
It was a fantastic. Thank you very much. You keep calling in, buddy. I love that accent.
I want your opinion on other things. I like his opinion on life.
Tell us about Bitcoin.
We did get a call from an actual astronomer.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of long, so if you want me to pause it, just let me know. But
we just give you like a thumbs up or something.
Yeah. So here's Kevin.
Kevin, the astronomer.
Hi guys, my name is Kevin. I'm an astronomer, like a professor in Arizona of astronomy. So if you're an astronomer, people ask you all the time about aliens. They just every party I've ever been to, if people find out I'm an astronomer, they want to know about aliens. So I'm going to tell you what I tell them, which is that.
Can we pause real quick? If there's a professor listening to us, of course he's from Arizona. Like it's following either of us on Instagram. Like that's already. This is a state school teacher. That's one thing I am saying right now.
Call me Dr. Kevin. I'm banging it out over at ASU.
yeah. Go Sun Devils, go Sun Devils. And also, maybe you need to look at the way the moon's affecting the tides this year. Anyways.
Hell yeah, Kevin from Arizona.
I love this. Keep going.
Here we go.
He's going to have blonde tips.
Like, every star pretty much has planets around it. Like, it'd be super, super lame if we were the only ones. But, and there's 100 billion galaxies in the universe, so, like, there's probably aliens out there. But I don't think the aliens have come to visit us, because why? We suck. Humans and Earth is like, if you are an alien and you can travel many, many light years through the universe, through the galaxy on a journey of discovery and exploration, we are backwoods ass. We are the worst. I would not want to stop. And I would just go right by the Earth and be like, not today. And so I think that when people tell you that aliens came, that's just a lot of effort to probe an anus or something. I think really, if you can travel,
appreciate the medical term there.
So enlightened and so beyond whatever we have to offer that we're not of interest to you, aliens. So I think that the main way we're going to find aliens, if we find them, is by looking out for them. And as of right now, we haven't seen them. I can tell you, when you become an astronomer and you get a PhD, they don't take you aside and say by the way, aliens are real. What actually happens is you do a lot of work, and it turns out that it's very hard to find other planets like the Earth, and it's very, very hard to find other planets where life like us could exist that might want to communicate with us. And maybe life inherently just destroys itself. I mean, look at how close humans have done it. We've only been around for several thousand years, and we're almost about to kill ourselves. So maybe life is just a little blip, and so that's why we haven't seen it. But
this guy's a fucking bummer.
I prefer to believe that it's
science.
It's just really, really hard to talk into space, right? It's really, hell, you get bad television signal, and we have television towers on the other side of mountains, right? So what do you think that our television broadcast going to go out into space, and aliens are going to have this incredible, antenna on their roofs and they can cast the television signals? No, it's a thing where
This guy is losing me, and he's for sure not a professor anymore. I don't know.
No, he's absolutely right. Nobody's going to develop. We didn't figure out
TV signal's going to go into space.
We didn't figure out how to break the sound barrier just so we can go to see what McDonald's looks like in Beijing. He's right about
what
the
does
fact
that even mean?
They're not going to develop all this technology and then go to Earth with it. They can fly by and go.
Why
we don't need
I
that.
hate that. I
Also,
hate that.
The movie, the River Phoenix film, The Explorers, did cover what would happen if our TV signals went into space, and it's that the aliens would only learn how to communicate us through sound bites from commercials and TV shows. I haven't seen the movie in about 30 years, but I think it was pretty funny.
You just undermined all the convincing you did of me.
It's a good movie. It's a fun movie.
I hate why wouldn't they come to Earth? That's such a fucking not a good statement to me. I think this guy probably is actually has a PhD and is a bright man.
What?
But why? That's an opinion. Who the fuck wants to go to the desert? Lots of people do it. It's awful. It's hot. It sucks.
Why don't you stop when you're driving from one city to another city? Why don't you stop at the town that says radishes, buy 3 get 2 free? Why don't you stop there?
Buy 3 get 2 free. First of all, I had a great time in Toledo.
But that's the reason. You could drive by and go I get it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not all bad here.
We're a flyover planet. We're a flyover planet. Jesus Christ.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Why wouldn't they come?
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not true.
But also well, that's true, but also this doesn't mean this isn't true. We're just making this assumption that aliens only want to come somewhere to gain something. Maybe they want to go somewhere to help somebody. Maybe they could do that. Huh?
Those are called angels, Shane. You're confusing your belief systems.
You're so bullshit. That's so shitty that you know I was making a good point there, you son of a bitch. I've been in this goddamn generic Deb web all goddamn afternoon. That's it's not fair. Why are we always going to war with these goddamn things? Maybe we don't. We only think that because of the movie thing. It's like the windshield thing you were saying earlier.
Wow. Somebody doesn't believe in angels either. Okay, let's go to the next call.
Were we done with this call? With this goddamn
no,
fucking pessimistic dickhead?
I want to hear his dismount. Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Where it's
Probably
very
just
hard
a
to
fart noise.
in space, and so you have to infer by being very clever that alien or that any type of life might be there, and it's hard. It's hard to do. So I'm not worried that we haven't seen aliens. I don't believe they came to us. If they did, they would probably not fly around like super obvious metal spacecraft and hover around and buzz like Air Force pilots or whatever. They'd be pretty good at being.
That's it.
Okay.
They got abducted. He either got shut down by the government or he got abducted.
He's a buffoon who can't figure out that he's driving into a dead zone.
No, he was too close. He was passing through one of those towns that doesn't even have a goddamn cell phone signal. Just like aliens probably. The aliens probably go by Earth and they're like, their Wi-Fi's crappy. We don't need to stop there.
All right, we're just.
That's it, Kevin. We hope you're okay. Call back next week.
I hope you're all right.
Okay.
I would like to hear you get a change of mind because this is fucking horseshit the way you present it.
No, I got you, Kevin.
Why wouldn't they come? You're assuming that all these enlightened beings, all these people who have all this technological advancement might not see the value in saving something or thinking there might be potential in Earth. Huh? Next caller.
How often do you go to Jersey?
More than I want to.
As a good deed, as a charitable effort. Well, you know what? I bet you somebody's hungry in Newark. Let me get on the train. How often are you saying yes to that?
You are so close to becoming one of these nutter butters. You already bought your van. You don't even get to fucking start with me.
Yeah. Well, buddy, no accounting for taste is about celebrating.
You're going to be out in the woods with Dave eating mushrooms and sucking down chili dogs like a John Cougar Mellencamp song. And then you're going to post a picture of a goddamn galaxy and you'll be like, think we saw aliens tonight. And all your fans are going to think it's a joke. But then really, I'm going to be like.
You're breaking the first tenet of this show, which is that we celebrate what might ostracize some people.
I am celebrating. I'm seeing potential in these aliens that you guys never even fucking thought of. I'm standing so far ahead of you, I'm behind you, motherfucker.
If I could just turn into Denzel Washington all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have 2 calls left.
throw a few more in it. Charlene, please interrupt us.
Here comes the next one.
Hi, Kyle and Shane.
She sounds sweet.
I don't know why people freak out about aliens. I mean, there's probably aliens because why wouldn't there be? But, like, I don't know why people are afraid of them. Like, they're probably just doing their alien jobs and going about their alien lives, not really thinking about us that much, or maybe as much as we think about them. So there's like a few people who are like freaking out about us on alien planets, but like most of them probably aren't smart enough to get here, just like most of us aren't smart enough to figure out where the aliens are. So, I don't know. Have a good day.
Oh, this woman's so much more on my wavelength. That's so much better. Probably just trying to get by. Lunch pail aliens.
It's a lopsided breakup.
I mean, she is using the same argument of, why wouldn't there be aliens? Why wouldn't aliens come here that you just got mad at? But sure.
Yeah, I just didn't like the trashing of Earth, really.
Okay, we have one more.
Okay, well, let's hope it's real.
This will spring us into the close, I believe. Hold on.
Or a whole new world.
Aliens are awesome.
Yes. Either side of what we're arguing about, we can all agree aliens are awesome. Little fun green men, ones that want to blow up the Earth. Awesome is a term that could be used for both of those.
I think so. Awesome, like God's power. Jesus Christ.
Used for good or used for bad, just like you're saying, Shane. Why don't they use it for
I
good?
just didn't like that they we're all just like, maybe it kind of made me feel bad about Earth.
Man, you really got into somebody you just found out Santa Claus wasn't real type of vibe there. You got
what? That's a different episode. Lying to children, is it bad?
Well, okay, we covered that. Well,
yeah.
I mean, to reinforce, Shane, I didn't mean to upset you so much with the fact that
it's fine, buddy. I love you. I argue because I
interested
care.
in us.
I don't like some fucking academic quack calling into this very educational podcast and not giving another side of the argument. This is it's crazy.
Kevin, I'm with you. So just so you know,
yeah, Dr. Kevin. Let's hope he's not operating.
Dr. Kev, straight out of Tucson, letting you know
Kev,
up there and
bleach
they don't
blonde
care
tips
about
and
you.
Chuck Taylors. Dr. Kev. I didn't hate some of his points. I just don't understand why the assumption is that all aliens want to do is not fuck with us or destroy us.
Well,
that's
I don't think it's an assumption when he's an actual astronomer who studies the space from which aliens would come from. I think what we have are assumptions, and he's the one going, listen, I'm sure they're out there, but why would they care about us when you have that much else to explore? It's like, I think his argument is like, why focus on just the self-centered argument that like, but we're people and we're exciting and we have consciousness and we have so much to offer. And with what else is out there, it's probably, we're like, you know, when you go to the zoo and then they just have like raccoons and you're like, I have raccoons in my yard. Like, I don't give a shit about raccoons. I want to see elephants and dolphins and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Earth is like the hamster exhibit at a zoo that also has giraffes. Zoo.
But I don't know why we understand what. But like my thing with the zoo analogy is, why is every other planet San Diego Zoo? Well, San Diego's come up a lot on this episode, which is weird.
Maybe that's the next episode is just San Diego because I have strong opinions. It is though, but maybe this is just an ant farm. Like, again, if they have the technology to travel faster than the speed of light through the vast reaches of space, why would this planet be interesting when our regular airplanes still crash all the time?
Well,
we're prepubescent in the eyes of the rest of the universe, I think.
Yeah, but I don't understand why we're assuming that we are the prepubescent ones.
Because I don't think we're all that great.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that something else is much better.
No,
right?
and we might not see them. That was what the young lady was saying about like maybe they're just out there on a similarly like.
She's a good one. I like her.
But think about how everything's developed. Not everything started at the same time. Not all life started just because our universe had the big bang, however many millions of years ago. Doesn't mean that another universe started at the exact same time.
For sure.
Life forms started at the same time. It's all, there might have been almost an exact replica of Earth 1 trillion years ago that was created, formed, people had iPhones, and then they died. That might have happened already somewhere. And it might happen again. And so there might be a planet there might be a planet that's like ours, but it's human beings that are still cavemen.
Yeah.
And they're looking at stars going,
but that goes to my point about like that we're not maybe we're not the pre-pube planet.
Yeah, but we're definitely not traveling. Like we're barely getting to Mars. We're like I'm filled with metaphors right now, but we're like a kid riding his bike around the block for the first time.
Metaphors.
It works. They're functional in this area.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
You know,
I don't know. Like, if we think they could be out there, but we don't know anything really yet, except possibility, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then our possibility is endless too.
Yes. I mean, I'm not optimistic about it, but
I'm not either. But I gotta have a little hope. Been a rough year. Don't need this guy coming in and telling me aliens are coming here and not fucking with me. He's not part of the meow meows. I'll tell him that.
I think. Well, again, if it's not, if you're not obsessing over it and it's not leading you into some sort of global cabal of blah, anytime the words global cabal come up, I'm like, ooh, man, you need to finish your Arby's order and get the fuck out of my way.
Anytime someone uses a phrase like that now, I'm just like, I guess the news was saying that a lot last year. That's all I think. It's like,
yeah. But if as long as you're not going that way and it makes you like, you know, I'm going to sleep in the lawn chair outside tonight and stare at the sky.
Fun, have a few buds. Yeah. Like I like that.
Get a piece of that life, and it gives you a nice perspective of like, oh boy, maybe maybe my actions are inconsequential in a positive way, that I shouldn't be so anxious about my choices and what I worry about in life. Maybe, I shouldn't be so self-centered and focus on all my little shit. I'll go about my day and feel better thinking like, yeah, man, there might be whole civilizations out there. Who cares if I, have the courage to ask somebody out, or I always use that kind of motivation for try and stand-up comedy. Like there might be aliens. Who gives a shit if you bomb at an open mic?
That's all like a huge thing for me is like, I find ways
saves me from being sad.
Let's sum it up real quick. Let's put our game face on, kitty cat, and let's get through this. Got to put a little milk in your saucer and a little kibble in your bowl.
I don't know why this is a thing.
So you can make boom boom in your litty bitties. Anyways. Meow 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 meow. Aliens meow. Meow meow.
I'm stopping my video.
Meow. Don't you dare.
It's out. It's stopped. It's the end of the episode. I can't do it.
Aliens are real.